to the Self-Made Men on YouTube. Today we are doing part 2 of our Q&A. We did one last month, and we have a lot of other questions that we got since then, and some that we couldn't answer then, so we are doing it again. I hope you're excited.
Okay, I'll start out with the first question.
Cool beans.
How did you choose your new names? I have to go last.
Oh yeah,
I always have to go last.
I'll
I have to.
Okay. I'll do mine. I chose Rowan after a long list of other Row names. I kept that. Row was my nickname in my senior year of high school, and I thought it would be easier for everyone and for me as well if my new name kind of went off of that. So I had a whole list of Row something names, and Rowan just kind of fit. My family is Scottish, so I decided that was kind of a nice nod, and everyone kind of liked it, and so here we are.
It's pretty good. I like
nice
Rowan.
Thank you.
Row your boat. I named myself after the Red Mighty Morphin Power Ranger, which usually is where everyone laughs and says, haha, very funny, but
What?
No one's over there to laugh at me. So, another thing, actually, is my mom asked me when the name thing had come up that if I had named myself Jason because it sounded like Stacia if she yelled it down the hallway. Because
Right.
When I first started, I was, stealth to people, if that makes sense. So hadn't told people that I was interacting with online that I was born female, and so so if I was on the phone with someone and she yelled my name down the hallway, it kind of sounded like Jason.
Okay.
That
makes sense.
Sneaky. All right. The next question is, what kind of hair?
What kind of hair do you have?
Kind
of grows out of my head.
Yeah. What kind of haircut do you guys ask for? I really like it. And this one was from YouTube, so I don't know if that makes sense.
Sure. Since I don't actually ask for a specific haircut,
Do they have names of haircuts?
I think
I would like
there are general cuts.
You know
Like,
that
you
dude
can
from
ask
One
for
Direction?
crew.
I want my hair to look like him.
There are haircuts you
Oh,
can
yeah.
ask for. I
Yeah.
generally don't.
High and tight.
I say I want back and side shorter than the top, and then you can ask for a specific length of clippers if you know that you like half an inch here and an inch there or something like that. But I usually tend to keep it the top of my hair is at least half an inch longer than the back and sides. I need a haircut right now, but I kind of leave it up to the
Do you want to go do that tomorrow?
person. Yeah, I do actually. Let's do that. Okay.
I do a 1.5 to a 1 to a 2 to scissor cut. Okay.
There you go.
I'll read the next one, and you can laugh at yourself.
Okay.
This is all in caps. It says, "Dear Ro, will you marry me?" It's also, how do you feel about horribly good rom-coms, which I did not know stood for romantic comedies.
I did. You guys should let us know. Did you know about rom-coms prior to the fact that we just told you what they
Yes.
mean?
Comment on this video and let us know if you knew.
Please do, because I think it's
social experiment.
generally general knowledge.
I think that if someone said rom-coms, I would eventually figure it out. But I
Yeah.
thought that it was an inside joke with you and her.
No. Well, now everyone knows that it's someone that I know who answered this question.
I apologize.
That's fine. I will marry you only when we're 80. And I love a horribly good rom-com. Sometimes I just love
What would
to laugh
stand
at them.
for a good rom-com? Is there an example? A couple examples?
Anything on ABC Family
Okay.
that isn't like an ABC Family original movie, not one that is just airing on ABC Family.
Okay. All right.
Because they have that 25 Days of Christmas, but it's they air movies that came out in theaters. No. I'm talking about 12 Days of Christmas, which was what I just watched over the weekend, where this girl slips and falls in a department store and relives Christmas Eve 12 times.
Wow.
It was great.
Huh. Like a little...
It just got worse as the movie went on, but it was so bad that it was good. So it's on Netflix, so if you want to go give it a shot.
I watched a Doris Day movie the other day.
Yeah?
That's kind of romantic comedy. It
Yeah.
always ends up good.
There you go. It's all good. I mean, When Harry Met Sally, You've Got Mail, Sleepless in Seattle, anything by Nora Ephron's good. I mean, I like rom-coms.
Said Zach's mom. All right.
No.
How do you handle the changes you go through when starting testosterone?
Well, the changes are different for everyone.
That's true. Some people say that they get more aggressive, while some people say that they're more calm.
Yeah. the mental changes are certainly different for everyone, as well as the emotional changes. It really depends on how you handle stuff. And also, your body's physical reaction to testosterone is different as well, because that's a genetic thing. I think it's helpful to be really mindful of all the changes that you're going through and not kind of put them to the side and just be like, oh, it's just something I have to deal with. Because this is like a huge life-changing thing, not just physically, but emotionally, mentally, interpersonally. So to be mindful of stuff, do things that keep you calm and focused. Be sure to talk to people if you're feeling overwhelmed about things. I find it helpful. I was helpful my first year to just like keep like a little documentary of like pictures or little videos so that I could like track my own progress. I kind of stopped eventually, but it was kind of nice to just see the differences and stuff like that.
I think that my fuse was definitely shorter. Like, I could tell that I got frustrated about little things way faster, and I think that that got better as I learned that I needed more physical release, like play racquetball, even if you're not actually playing, or like
That was a subtle dig at me.
or like work out, run, even though that's a terrible sport.
Terrible. Don't put that in. They're gonna.
We're gonna get nasty letters from runners.
I run and it's an amazing time to do that.
It clears my head. It's what I use.
Do it.
To each your own.
Each their own. That's totally fine.
Yeah, I think. Other than that, like the physical changes, I really wanted. So when I got a new arm hair, I was like, "Oh my God, look at it!" kind of thing. When I could, I remember the first time I could do a pull up. When I was in a shower at RIT, and they have like this bar that goes across to hold the curtain.
Yeah.
And so I like just grabbed it, and I was like, oh my God! And I just pulled my body up, and that was really awesome. So I did a couple of those. I was like, look at it! And probably put it on Facebook or something.
Yeah, I just did that like last weekend. We were waiting
Your
for the
first pull-up?
meteor shower. Well, like I've probably been capable of doing it. I just haven't.
Right.
We were waiting for the meteor shower in the park,
Uh-huh.
and I was like, "Oh, playground!" And so I ran to it, and I just like jumped onto like the monkey bar ring.
Yeah.
And I was like, "Ooh!" And then I was like, "Oh,
Oh,
look at me
upper body
go."
strength.
17 of them, and then everyone's like, "Show off!"
Yeah.
But they're just two.
They are. Okay. Go to the next question.
Okay.
How do you feel about girls, biological, cisgender girls, or if you're into guys, who haven't been with a trans man? Do you feel less comfortable with dating them because they can't relate / understand, or even because they've never been experienced? I think
Oh, okay, they can't relate or understand because they haven't experienced the things that someone who's transitioned has.
Okay. I always wondered this. I hope my question was clear.
We got it.
I've never dated a trans person, so I wouldn't know what it was like to have. I mean, I've had best friends that are trans, so so I know I have someone that understands, but I've never dated a trans person, so I don't know what it would be like to date somebody that understands. But the girls that I have dated have been pretty like you just need to talk to them, talk through it. This is how I feel. This is what we're going through. Even cisgender people have limits and triggers about things. They're just a little bit more body oriented when you're trans.
Yeah, same for me. I haven't dated anyone trans. The girls I have dated or been interested in or anything like that have all been cisgendered, and they've all been really cool. I found that when someone really likes you and being trans is a big part of who you are, they like go and research stuff on their own and like look things up, and they don't want to ask the wrong question, and they want to know. They ask more questions of you, just so they can then have your boundaries and stuff like that. And they're never going to completely understand. You can't, but they certainly do their absolute best, and that's really all you can ask for from anyone. So I don't have the experience of dating anyone trans, but I don't think I would never hold it against someone that they aren't. That would be mean. It's not their fault.
Maybe like reverse transphobia.
Cisphobia. That's not a thing.
On our little list, I put in that we should do a shameless plug right now that we are currently 9 likes away from 2,000 on Facebook,
that's huge.
Which is pretty cool because the alliance, the gay alliance that we work for, kind of, or we volunteer for.
working suggests that we get paid for
has a little over 2,000. So it's like, when does the Jedi Padawan become the master kind of thing? It's all based on Facebook likes, of course.
Yes.
Okay, I'm gonna move on.
Okay.
Hello. I was wondering when I would be mailed. I'm sorry, I fucked that all up. When?
Put that in the video.
Hello.
I fucked it all up.
I was wondering when I would be getting the calendar in the mail. I was chosen for one of the months.
Congrats.
I didn't look up who sent this or which month he was, but the calendars just came in, and so right now they are a box full of 14,000 papers. And so we ordered chip backs, and we are putting them together because it was cheaper that way. It keeps the cost really cheap for you guys. And so we should be shipping them out before the end of this week. I will get back to you and all of the other months for their mailing address, because to be a model, you get a free calendar.
And you get to hang on everyone's wall for a month.
That is very true. And there's also interviews with the months on our website. So if you're like, oh my god, this calendar guy is really cute, and then you want to know more about him, or I don't know, there was something in his bio that you wanted to learn more about, we've probably talked to him a little bit more about that. Next question. What percentage of the royalties would the chosen designer's creator receive? What are the specs of what we should submit, and is there a limit to the amount of designs sent in? No, there's not. We are just looking for a bunch of t-shirt designs, because we have the Boys of Summer shirt. We have a couple of the neon shirts left. We're completely out of the new gray one, the old gray ones with the logo on them. Yeah. So we want to get some t-shirts, because those are really great ones. Our new slogan is transition is inevitable. So we've been looking for designs on that. The design specs for the royalties is going to depend on how many of the t-shirts that we order. For example, if we order 100 t-shirts and we sell each of them for $10, that's $1,000. So we were looking at like about maybe between 10 and 20%. I'm thinking the best way to do this, instead of every time a shirt is sold, we add it to it and send a check, that would be obnoxious. I'm thinking that if you design it and we order 100 and we're selling them for $10, then we would just cut you a check right away as soon as we got them and give you the $100 to $200 for designing the ad or the graphic. Any advice on coming out to your family?
Do it when they're not looking at you. When I came out to my dad, I did it when he was exercising, and I stood behind him so that he couldn't look at me while I was saying it, because I find it much, much easier to tell people really important news when you're not making eye contact, which is kind of an aversion technique, but it works for me.
That's why you and I go for walks when we talk about our life, because we're just looking off here. We're not actually looking at each other.
We don't
or like in the car.
Yep.
Come out to your mom in the car, lock the doors.
Make sure you're driving, though, so she's not like, what?
You're driving, just lock the doors and just make sure you're on the thruway or something.
Yeah. There's... What is that with every video? Someone's walking by. Yeah, my office. It's our office. There's a tree. You can't see it, though.
Tree?
A tree.
A tree. Okay.
Back to coming out to your family. Right. We both came out and kind of like...
It's true. My mom told me I was trans. I had been online, like, if you've seen my little bio thing, for a couple of years. What? I'm so sorry. You're letting me cut you off even more. Sorry.
I'm sorry I interrupted you.
So, yeah, I had been online, and so she actually Googled my daughter wants to be my son, and came up with a bunch of stuff from P-Flag, and printed out a bunch of trans stuff, left it on my bed, and that was how I came out.
By the way, this is.
By the way, you might be trans. But I had already, no one was surprised. I had already cut my hair between 9th and 10th grade. I was wearing boy clothes all the time. My mom told me later on that she wouldn't have changed anything on how she raised me, except for like she would have just dressed me different. Like I had light up X-Men shoes. I climbed trees. Like I had GI Joes. It was like whatever I wanted was fine because my mother was younger, in a younger generation than most people's parents. But my mom told my grandmother, which meant that my entire family knew because my grandma has a big mouth. Hi, Grandma. And it's just, yeah, so one person told one person, and it was kind of, I'm not really sure what was said, but each person just came to me and was like, hey, I know what's going on, and I'm not surprised. Congratulations. What do I call you now? For my 18th birthday, I got cards with new pronouns on them, so it was like happy birthday nephew and grandson and brother and stuff like that.
I would just say there's never a good time to come out. I feel like because you're always like, oh well, if I tell them now, then this will happen and this will happen, or like, oh they've had a bad day at work, like I don't want to add this to their plate or whatever, or oh they're in a good mood, I don't want to bring them down. Like there's really no like perfect time to do it.
I know Noah wrote a letter to everybody.
There's different ways to do it. When I came out to my friends, I wrote a Facebook message and like mass sent it and then like walked away from my computer so I didn't have to like think about it for a little while. It's kind of like whatever feels more comfortable for you. If you feel better writing a letter and emailing it or sending it to someone or like leaving it on the kitchen table and leaving for the day or something, whatever you think is the safest way for you to do it, and what feels the most comfortable. So
I would also say that when you're writing this letter, make sure that you word it in a way that you were unhappy with who you are and what you were going through, and that since you found this out about yourself, you're really happy. Like you really want to paint it in like a positive light. You also, I found that when people are ashamed of themselves and what they're going through, they give other people the right to put them down and be ashamed of them. So if you are very matter of fact and say, this is what I'm going through, I just want your support in it. Don't ask for permission. Don't open the gate for them to be like, no.
Yeah. It's certainly helpful to be direct about it and say like, this is who I feel I am, and this is what I would like to do. I just wanted to include you in this process.
Right.
I want you to come along on this transition with me, whatever your transition ends up being, because I love you and I want you to be in this with me. Not like, I hope this is okay, open for feedback kind of thing, because then you might open the door for people putting their foot down, and that's really not what you're coming out about. You're not saying like, please let me know if it's okay that I'm trans. You're just saying, I am.
Yes.
I hope you come with me on this journey.
Exactly.
Less flowery language, but yeah.
Okay, the next two ones are about me. Kind of.
It's alright, someone already asked me to marry them. So.
Yes, it's true.
I'm fine.
Just went to your site for the first time, and I have to say I really dig the way it all has the same basic color scheme going on. When I was younger, when I first started looking into the trans community, I realized that a lot of the websites as an artist, as a graphic designer, I didn't want to go to their sites for information because they had weird layouts, or they were like, the background was like a galaxy with like a bunch of little butterfly gifs and stuff like that. And it didn't like feel like it was something that I could go to, like wanting to eventually be a man or like identifying masculine. It was very flowery or like confusing, that kind of stuff. So when I set out to make the Self-Made Men website, I wanted it to be masculine, so we went with the blue that was kind of the blue in the trans flag. White and black are the other, like the splash colors, but the gray and the blue was actually the colors that I saw on the hotel in Night in Rodendria. Am I saying that right? Do you know that like so. Really old person movie kind of thing? The
like
hotel,
the
hotel is gray and it has these blue.
Oh, it's like Nights in Rodanthe or something like that.
Yeah, something like that. It had these blue like things on it, and I was like, those are the sweetest color scheme ever. So I use that color scheme, but I really appreciate when things are like, uniform and they have brand identity, and it's so like it just makes me feel like it's a legit like place. The next thing that I said was who does your vector art? It's fantastic, and I've admired it for a while. I'm a graphic design student who enjoys doing vector portraits of people, and it really caught my eyes. It's really fantastic. So I put this in there to apparently brush my ego up. But I do it, and I don't know anything else that I wanted to say about that. They just matched each other, kind of, so I just put them in together.
Yeah. Jason does all of our graphic stuff. Because there's a whopping 3 of us on the staff.
Yes.
And he's the only one with graphic design expertise. I know
design.
how to like lighten photos on GIMP, and that's about it. I do okay.
He's the one that writes our legal stuff and like the very official sounding things. Rowan probably wrote. Yeah. If it has a typo in it, it was me.
And I sit in my room and I go, "You didn't send that to me. There's a typo. You have to fix it now."
Thankfully, the calendar does not have any typos in it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Did you look it over?
Yeah.
Okay. And
I'm technically just the copy editor for this.
Sorry, just the copy. That's vice president copy editor. Speaking of calendars, the 2013 calendar, like I said, is in. It is on sale
awesome.
for $12.50, which is a good price because I think that I went into the calendar place in the mall and like all of those calendars were like $20
at least.
So I was like,
you're
yes,
paying like $1
awesome.
per month.
That's true.
That's like nothing.
They are also.
If you think about the worth you're gonna get out of the calendar.
About this big. They're big.
They're big.
They're 11 by 17. Big. They have 13 months in them. He was like, "How did that happen?" I was like, "We have December."
He was like,
"We
had 13
December,
models."
January,
and I was like, "How do we have 13 models for a 12-month calendar? Are you stupid?"
Yeah.
He's not. I just didn't know.
We had a lot of good submissions, and so I put an extra one in there. Brought to you, but the extra page, being able to print the extra page, was brought to you by trans vocalist Christopher August, who right now is up for nominations of the Trans Guys Community Awards. So if that's a little plug for him in there, if you want to go to that, I don't know what the website is. Look it up. It's on transguys.com.
There you go.
And then just vote for him. I know the Art of Transliness guys are nominated for a couple things too.
Yes.
So
this one says, "Hey, I'm trans and interested in your calendar." However, I must ask, how many people of color are in your calendar? I like diversity in my calendars, and so does my fiance, who I'll be buying it for. I'm an African-American trans man, in case you were wondering. I think it's sad to have to look for an all-black trans man calendar if I don't have to. Okay, unfortunately, what happened this year is we didn't get any submissions from African-American trans guys for our calendar. We had a couple over the amount of months that we are using. And the only reason we didn't use those is because they didn't give us all the information that we required for a submission. So it's really difficult to put together a calendar and try and represent the vast diversity that we have in the trans community when we only get submissions from people who kind of all look the same. It's frustrating because we want to be able to represent everyone that is involved in the community, especially when it comes to people of color. But when we don't get submissions from people, there's nothing we can do. We sent out calls for submissions, and we didn't get any from specifically African American trans guys. But we do have a couple of someone from Brazil. We have people. So we have a guy who's deaf.
Mm-hmm.
We've got
a
older guys. A deaf child model. We've got some older guys. We've got men who are married, fathers.
Married, fathers, yep. We got that Italian guy.
Yep.
Yeah.
So
you.
There you go. I don't think I count. So we are always open to submissions and model calls and all that kind of stuff. And we would love to make our calendars as diverse as possible. But we can only work with what we get. And if anyone watching right now has a link to a Black trans guy calendar or a Black trans guy specific organization that you would really like to plug, we will plug them. Just let us know. So, because we get a question about this every once in a while about, what are good,
right.
Specifically people of color.
I think that it would be
Tumblrs or websites to go to.
The not problem, but the obstacle I'm facing is that I don't want to segregate, because there's two definite groups that I would like to have more information about in the trans masculine community, which would be gay trans men and trans men of color. But to have like a section just for them would be to segregate them from it'd be like the regular people and then these people and these people. You know what I mean? I don't want to put them in little boxes off, like make them subsites of our site. You know what I mean? So I'd really just want to put it right in. What is the most effective way to pack? What keeps the packer in place during the normal everyday movement and looking natural? These are basically all of our packer questions from now on. So you might as well just call this the packer section. The most effective way to pack is to buy a packer. I said packer.
I know. The most effective way to pack is to buy a packer. Duh.
It's redundant. No.
Sorry.
There are ways to make your own packer. I remember when I was younger, I was trying to make one out of hair gel and condoms. I think I have a video of that on my personal YouTube. It was interesting. So you can make your own. You can use a sock. You can do anything like that. But the best way to do it is to buy an actual packer. So we now have them back on our site from Good Vibes, which are anywhere between. We have the sexual prosthetics and the harder packers, the 5-inch packers and the 4-inch packers, which are anywhere from like $24 to the $50 sexual prosthetics. The best way to keep packers in place during a normal day, usually they have harnesses. If not, if you don't feel like wearing a harness under your boxers or underwear of any kind, some places will sell boxers with a little pouch in the front that you can just put it right in. What else we got?
Yeah, I mean, if you wanted to, it's easier if you have like underwear that just has a place for it. You just pop it in and just leave it for the day. It usually doesn't move around. Transwear.net, I think, maybe it's .com, but Transwear with a Z buys like Hanes or just regular underwear and sews pouches into them, and that's a pretty good organization to check out. That's the only way that I've done it, to be honest. I don't have time for harnesses. I'm already wearing underwear and pants. Like, I don't want like 5 different like waistband material. So that's just what I do when I do it.
That's true. Plus, those little strings that go like around your thighs, they end up going between your butt, and you're like, nah, I'm not.
It's not comfortable. How do people wear jock straps? I don't understand that. Because I'm like,
yeah. Anyways, this is another packer question. It's kind of an awkward question, but no one really covers it on any trans sites. When you're not using it to pee through, what do you do with the receptacle for the STP packer? Like, how do you position it once you're done? I wanted to do an actual like video of this, but turns out that I don't have an STP or a harness anymore. So I couldn't.
Weird.
Yep. I grew out of it. So if you envision this with me, that you've got the harness and you've got the O-ring in between, which is where like it's like between the balls and the shaft. Is there a word for that? It's just like one comes down like this, one comes here, and you put the O-ring in between them, so that's where it holds it. Yeah. Your SCP receptacle will be like down through the shaft. So if you put the penis down like this, like pretend this is my body, you're putting the penis down like this, and the receptacle kind of just goes right there. I used to put it under my waistband so that it wouldn't move around at all. I found that like after I peed in public or like anywhere, actually, I would just take a little bit of toilet paper and like clean out the little medicine spoon thing, just because I didn't want it to drip down anywhere. I was really OCD about that kind of stuff. I think that shaking it is fine though. Yeah, it's just basically just points downward. So it's a little tough because the tube through the penis will make it look like you're like semi-hard kind of thing. So it'll stick out a little more. But that's kind of what happens when you're trying to STP. I know that Stand2 Uramate was looking into one that has a screw-on receptacle thing, so you can just take it out of your pocket, screw it on really quick, so it's not in your pants all the time.
That's cool.
Yeah, it's coming. There are funnel type ones, which I'm not actually sure. I've never had any experience with those, I'm pretty sure that they fold in half on themselves, and then you can put it under your waistband again. But I'm not sure. I've never used one, so I'm not really sure. All right, I think we're done. Any questions that have been asked from this point on will be into the next video because we like doing these. We're gonna shoot to do one a month, and so we'll get everything in. If it's a more urgent question, then we will obviously answer it. Also, if the question is about resources in a specific point, we're working on gathering resources, a big, huge resource list. I have about 400 things in it already, and so hopefully we can publicize that so that people can get to what they need. Anything to add?
No. Sorry, I just yawned. I'm like out of it now.
Okay. Well, we're gonna go play racquetball, and you keep asking questions, and we'll keep answering them. Yay!
So, are you watching this on?
There. You are cut off though. There you go. I'm trying to hold my hand again, like.
There's one time and you didn't do it.